It's never too early to start making money on Instagram. Influencers, content creators are slept on. Influencers, up your rates. How is an influencer different from a social media editor?
Yeah, let the royal trumpets blast, all right?
You're far too kind.
Yes.
It's been too long. Like, I came in and I was like, can we hug? Like, and it felt so good to just hug y'all and be in this space with you. So thank you truly for having me.
All right, so when the influencers first got on the scene, you know, we were the new kids on the block, right? And so a lot of people that was working in media was kind of like feeling the pressure, okay? They felt like, you know, influencers were coming and stealing their jobs. We did start seeing like influencers given media privileges like PR packages, press invites, et cetera, et cetera. But I do feel like the two industries are so distinct still.
It's actually funny because as someone who was both at the same time, an editor and an influencer at the same time, both were just as difficult and just as time consuming, like so much busy work on both ends, right? Because at the end of the day, you wake up in the morning, you plan your day, your assignments as an editor. Same thing as an influencer. Correct me if I'm wrong. You wake up in the morning, you plan what you're going to shoot, you plan what your storytelling is going to be. You actually write a script oftentimes, right? You storytell, you send it to your quote unquote editor, right? Which is the brand. They review it, they send you feedback, you go back to the drawing board. And so I think influencers, content creators are slept on because they do, I would say, close to as much work as editors do in the field, right? And you're doing a lot of like edits, updates. It's not just like the glitz and glam dressing up, going to events every day, which is exactly what editors do as well, right? But you have to go back and you have to report on it, whether it be on your social media or on your company's website. It's all similarities.
So Nana sent us this TikTok that's kind of like shaking the table. And you know the queens, we love to tussle, don't we? So what's the tea, Nana? Tell us about this TikTok.
So there was this TikTok video called 100 Days of Marketing. And this woman was talking about the comparison between media advertisement rates and influencer rates, right? She was like, okay, let's say this major corporation, fashion corporation, y'all could think about whatever that is in your mind, major media magazine corporation is charging $30,000 for a little advertisement on half a page, right? Something like that. Then you have this influencer who has a reach of over 1 million on one video, right? Getting paid $3,000, where ads going into this major corporation are $30,000. There's a huge price difference. And mind you, that ad in that magazine could be circulating maybe to 50,000 people. I mean, how many people are even picking up print anymore?
It was 100. First of all, I feel attacked personally.
This print over here.
Because I subscribe to all of the magazines.
How many readers? Okay, they all say they have hundreds of thousands of readers.
But still, it was 190,000. That issue was in circulation to 190,000 people.
So they say.
Right.
And so, like, and mind you, this is print. Like, this is not an online publication. This is print saying this is the price we choose to charge. How can you compare that to this influencer who does one video and gets circulation of 1 million views? Yeah. It's not comparable, and I just don't think the prices are fair. I mean, on the other end, fight me if you will, like, you know, I've worked in media. I would say I'm a journalist first. And these corporations have spent years building, right? Building this community, building this voice. And I mean, I think when you get to a certain point and you get into a certain profession and you've been at the top in this industry and you've built this authority, you can charge these prices, right? Whether you're having this viewership or not, your name is getting used. This person is like, I've been in this publication. They're using that to make profit off of you. And so I think at the end of the day, like, it's great to have this media authority where they do charge these high prices, but I do think influencers, up your rates. Yeah. Like, that's all I'm saying. Media ain't gonna change for you. You need to up your rates. You need to say, hey, this is my viewership. This is my circulation. These are the numbers I'm charging. And if you can't accept that, like, you have to be willing to walk away.
So I want to quote the creator Sabra. She said, the biggest scam being run on content creators is making them believe that they're influential actors instead of actual influential media outlets. Can you speak to that?
Yes. And I think that goes back to what I was saying. How is an influencer different from a social media editor? Are you not all capturing content on your phone? Are you not storytelling on your phone? do you not get approval before the content goes live from your phone? Are you not all going to events? Are you not all writing copy? Like, I can keep on going and going. And I'm saying that because I was a social media editor. And yes, it's very different when you can speak from your own voice speaking versus a publication's voice. You can learn those skills and you can tweak them, but I just don't want people to think that influencers are not putting in the work, because they truly are. They really, really are.
Yeah. It's a raw skill, and I feel like once you reach a certain level, then it's like, okay, let's start really working this skill, cultivating this skill. How can I be better? How can I grow? But then always using the fact that I'm a real person. I experience real things, and that authenticity paired with the knowledge, I think you'll really succeed with that.
And I want to clarify, because I know people are listening like, I'm an influencer and I should be getting okay. We're saying like influencers who've built authority, right, like who've honestly been in the industry. You can almost call them creative professionals. I really I prefer the word creative professionals, because you really are. Like, you've built this audience, you've built this voice for yourself, you've built this brand. Like, you're that authority in the space, and it's okay to claim that. So yeah, I think creative professionals should be paid higher rates like these media companies are getting paid.
I also feel like the industry, specifically the fashion and media print industry, is just being gatekept. And we saw that from the beginning, like with Susie Bubble, Brian Boy, Fashion Toast, when they would show up, I'm talking like 2007, 2008, front row of fashion shows. These major magazine editors were pissed. And it wasn't because they didn't put in the work. It was because we are the gatekeepers. Vogue has been here over 100 years. Who are you to sit with us? Right. And unfortunately, as much as influencers want to raise our rates, we can raise our rates all we want, but if we go take it to the brand and they're used to this gate-kept society, they're going to turn it down. And somebody who needs the money is going to pick up that low rate.
Right.
So it's going to take a collective awareness, a collective, like, nah, we're not doing this for this much, in order for everyone's rates to be raised.
It takes a movement.
Yeah.
It really does. And I hope everyone that's listening, like, just reevaluate your rates. And like, if you have and I think this is so important, I have a group of content creative professionals that I just check things over with. Like, hey, did you work with this brand? What was that rate? Transparency is key. And I know in the beginning, we used to gatekeep, right?
Yeah.
I ain't telling you what I did with Mac. I ain't telling you what I did. But it's like, honestly, the only way for us to be this strong movement is if we move together, right? And so it's so important to be transparent. We're having this conversation because we want you guys to reevaluate your rates and just know the information that's out there, right? Like, watch this TikTok video, really, like, figure out what these insights are so you can use them to your benefit.
Yeah. Last thing before we move on. Sorry, y'all. I also often think about influencers having a union of some sort. I come from a styling background, and any actors, whether it's commercial, TV, if you're in the film or entertainment industry, there is a union that guarantees you certain rates, that guarantees you paid time off and health insurance. And a lot of these SAG actors now, or even influencers, a lot of major influencer agencies are requiring influencers to be SAG-AFTRA. And so if you want us to be part of these agencies and part of these communities, we should have our own. Our own.
Yes. Yeah,
we're entertainers.
That. Yeah, I love that so much. Actually, it was the first time a company had asked me, like, do I have with partnership with SAG?
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I wasn't sure. And they're like, oh, the other influencer you're working with does. And so they were like, we can actually pay you extra.
Yep.
If you do.
Not can, they have to.
Oh, yeah. So because the other influencer I was working with had a partnership with SAG, they actually were like, we're going to pay you to that, because she was like, I can't work with someone that is actually not part of that union as well. So that's powerful. I would love for us to have some type of union. Oh my gosh. Yes.
We need
Let's
that.
speak into existence.
Y'all heard that here.
Royal decree.
Yes. I love that.
In this influencer creative market, can we talk a little bit about the difference between a nano, a micro, a mid, and a macro influencer?
Yes, let's get into it. First of all, every influencer matters, okay? You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. No, but really, like, I sometimes, I oftentimes will give influencers advice on growth and strategy for their platforms. And one thing I always say is it's never too early to start making money on Instagram. Like literally you have people with 1,000 followers making money, 2,000 followers making money. And I mean, they're getting partnerships for like $1,000. Like for their exact following, right? Like making one real. And I think at the end of the day, it's about what is your profession? Because if you can really, really speak to something, you're an expert in it, people will pay you no matter what your following is. So I tell people, listen, there's money to be made in hosting and doing panels. And those people aren't looking at what your following is, right? They want to know, can you speak on this? So oftentimes do your research, become a profession on a particular area, know what your N-word, niche,
Yes,
niche, ladies. Why y'all looking at me like that?
We throwing niches out.
Yes.
So truly know what your niche is, because at the end of the day, yes, following matters, but it matters for a particular reason, right? So if you're a micro or a nano influencer, you're great for local advertisement, right? Like within your community, you know everyone in New York, you know everyone in Brooklyn. There's a new home furniture store launching in Brooklyn or New York. You're the perfect person to promote that, right? No matter what your rate is, like they should just pay you at the typical rate because you're reaching their target audience, right? If you're a macro, you are reaching a global audience, right? Maybe you're the direct person that is going to give them those product sales, right? And so it really just depends what your goal is to get you to reach those ROIs. But at the end of the day, you got to figure out what your goal is, right? Because local influencers, micro, nano, macro, product launches, and global reach. But everyone should be making money out here.
So you mentioned people with 1,000 followers getting paid $1,000.
Ma'am.
That's crazy.
Yes, ma'am.
So how much?
$2,000.
And
too.
$2,000.
Let me tell you, I'm working with some amazing people. Yes.
That's dope. That's
Yeah.
dope. So do you see more of like content creation in those aspects, or it's still social media as well as creation?
That's a really great question, actually. A few things, like what they do is content creation still. They'll make reels. What you're seeing at that rate is them creating content for the companies.
Right.
The companies aren't as focused on you need to post it. They love for you to obviously post it because like you still are meeting their niche. But at the end of the day, if you're creating great quality content, they're going to pay you for that, right? Like UGC is so important. User generated content is so important to these brands and these companies, and they will hire you strictly just for that. You could just tell them like, I'm just going to create for you. That's it. And they'll pay you a really great rate for that.
How would someone with less than 5,000, less than 1,000 get noticed by brands to be able to have these opportunities?
Honestly, guys, it's as easy as sliding in the DMs. You have to slide in DMs of over like 50, 40,
It's like
30
the cold
companies.
calls.
Like,
It's like
you
the cold
have to-
calls.
It literally is. It's cold DMing. But like you have to first have your pitch down, and pretty much the go-to pitch, take notes really quick. Hi, my name is X. I love your brand. I've been following it for some time. I've noticed this recent product launch. Would you like help, creating user-generated content around it to attract more people to attract more people to it? Can I help in any way? Who's the best contact to send a follow-up email to? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because one, you're getting that person you can start that communication with. Two, you're leaving the DMs. And even if they're like, oh, we don't have budget right now, you can still say in the future, I would love, so just get that contact is so, so important. And then if they even respond to you, that means they're somewhat interested, right? Even if they're not interested right now, you'll be surprised how following up in 3 months, or they hit you up in 6 months or even a year, you'll be surprised they'll have the budget you want by then. And they want to work with you on a long-term partnership. So I would just always say slide in those DMs no matter what your following is, but also make sure your portfolio is good, which is your Instagram, right? Make sure it's consistent. Make sure the quality is great. I wouldn't really worry about the following count, honestly. I would just make sure that the content overall is good. And engagement according to what your following is good.
Now, you mentioned the Instagram. So is the Instagram enough, or should they be having a media kit as well?
Oh, you need to have a media kit. You need to have, it's actually funny. I'm like training 2 people right now. Oh my gosh. And so one person is at 4,000 followers, and a brand actually just reached out to her, and they want to do They want to film her. This is interesting. So I guess it's content creating because they want to go and film her trying on their pieces, and she just has to post on her stories, but they're going to create 3 videos for them to use on their website or email, etc. And I was like, girl, you need to charge pre and post production for that. And she's like, what is pre and post production? And I'm like, you have to clean your house for these people, right? You have to prep. Like, what are the looks you want to do? I'm sure you're going to have to be doing some type of styling. You're going to have to use your own clothes. You're going to have to put together those looks, right? And then post is, I'm sure they're going to want to know what captions you want to use. What do you want to put on the stories? How you want to prep that, all of that. Like, so if you engage with your community.
And licensing.
And usage.
So I'm like, there's a whole... Oh my God, I'm like, whitelisting, there's a whole jargon to it all. And I think it's so important to understand what your value is no matter what you're following. And I had even asked her, I'm like, so if they're posting this, I said, how many outlets are they? Is it just their newsletter? Is it going to be their website? Because whatever your main rate is, 30% of that should go into paid. Like that is your separate, because oftentimes people are like, what should I charge for paid? And I'm like, typically it should be 30% of whatever your general in-feed rate is or packages.
And when you say paid, you mean like whitelisting, usage? Yes. Okay, so that means the brand is going to repost your content to their channel.
Right. On their, it could be their website, newsletter, their Instagram, etc.
So basically what she's saying, just to break it all the way down for y'all, is that you need to get a rate, whatever that means for you. And if they want to whitelist it or they want to do something else with it, they need to pay you 30% more of that.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hear or watch us anywhere and everywhere you get your podcasts. But hold up, sit back down. We're not done with you. Hit that subscribe button now so you won't miss a minute or even a second of what we have in store for you.
For now, this is Kontent Queens,
where content
is queen.